Yo, what's up guys? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. And now that the beta has finally come to an end, I figured I would talk about it, but this time I would not only go a little bit more in depth in terms of the commentary, but also I would go a little bit, I would also make multiple different videos on the subject, but what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to break them down by different categories. So it would be very fair, and it makes absolute sense to talk about how the game overall feels, because that's what you first experience with the game in terms of how it looks, how it feels, how it plays, and all that. So it makes all the sense in the world to talk about that, as well as the lag, the hit detection, the lag compensation, the time to kill, and the matchmaking. So that makes perfect sense to start off in that sense. So without further ado, let's get into it. So now obviously let's start with the first thing you see, and that's the frame rate drops. The frame rates have been very inconsistent with this game, and I can say that every single Call of Duty since COD 4 has released with no frame rate problems, so I'm not really expecting there to be a frame rate issue by the time the release of the game comes out. So therefore, with that aspect alone, it should improve everybody's experience greatly, because I'm not a dev or anything, but I'm pretty sure that the frame rate does play a certain role to a certain extent, whether it's minor or major. I feel like it makes sense for it to play a certain role, because you react to whatever goes on screen. So if something is delayed because the frame rate dips or stays inconsistent or whatnot, or you're going to react inconsistently, so therefore the experience is going to be inconsistent, and the other person's experience might not be the same as yours, even though they're in the same match as you. So there's that to consider as well. So yeah, I just wanted to touch up on that. So I wouldn't worry too much if I were you. And if let's put it this way, if the game were to release with a really bad inconsistent frame rate, similar to the beta here, I mean, as Dying Food said in our dual stream that we did the other day, they're going to be the laughing stock of the gaming industry, that's for sure. So I don't think there's going to be a problem with that, and obviously no single Call of Duty has ever been released with frame rate problems, at least not to recent memory, at least not to my knowledge. So there's that, and let's talk about the basics of how the game feels. It feels like Black Ops 1, 2, and 3 combined, believe it or not, with a few things added in. It feels like Black Ops 1 in terms of the hit detection. It feels like Black Ops 2 with the lag compensation. And it feels like Black Ops 3 with the movement and the weapons. Now, in the weapons, I'm going to get into more in depth on another video, except I will say this right now. Snipers are strong as fuck, and they can also draw faster than any other weapon in the game. So, yeah, I'm going to go more in depth in that in another video. So let's talk about... Let's keep on talking about the basics here, the nitty-gritty, the very first things that you experience in the game. So... in terms of the new stuff, now there's been rumors that this game was so different that by the time they called people in around pre-alpha to come and try the game out and to give feedback, that the feedback was so negative that Treyarch has been backpedaling ever since to make it more like Call of Duty, because it didn't really feel that much like Call of Duty at all. And I guess those COD players that got called in were they gave a lot of negative feedback. So ever since then, Treyarch has been pretty much backpedaling. At least that's what the rumor is. I mean, the rumor was that it was going to be like Overwatch, and I think like a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege thrown into the mix, I believe. But for the most part, it's been said that it was going to be like Overwatch. And when you look at the way the game encourages teamwork and team play, and in terms of bringing back the specialists as well, it definitely, that in and of itself is evidence, and it definitely, to a certain extent, it plays that way. But in terms of Call of Duty, I'm glad that Treyarch's been backpedaling, and they still have some more pedaling to do, because there's a few more things that need to be ironed out, especially when it comes to the hit detection and lag compensation. Because this game, in terms of the engine, it's been a modified engine. It's been a modified Quake engine since what, COD 4? So they've been constantly modifying it. So since they've been backpedaling, it makes sense that the game feels like Black Ops 1 in terms of the hit detection, because I'm starting to feel that this could be a Black Ops 1 modified engine. They might have gone back and backpedaled all the way to Black Ops 1 in terms of the engine, and they might have just added a few things to it, like the movement speed, the movement itself, and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of the hit detection, it feels a lot like Black Ops 1 with my personal experience. So there is that. Now, some of the things that you might also might want me to talk about is the lag compensation. Now, Black Ops 2, this is where the game feels like Black Ops 2. In Black Ops 2, the lag comp has been said to be the worst in the series, or one of the worst in the series, right? Okay, so with Black Ops 2, there would be a lot of what's also known as rubber banding or whatnot, to where, like, let's say, or bullet curving, you know, to where it feels like bullets are going around corners and killing you. Like, let's say you put in a few bullets into a guy, and then you get back into cover, and you've been in cover for anywhere from half a second to a full second, and yet after that time has elapsed, you somehow die. And if you look at your opponent's kill cam, it looks like the kill cam is it looks like, even though that you know that you went back into cover before you died, because that's what you see on your screen, what they see from what you can see on the kill cam, what the opponent sees on their screen is that you're still there and they're still putting bullets into you. So that is something that definitely seems to be tuned up in this game, and it's really, really annoying, and it sucks, and it also makes the time to kill seem worse. And I think that's why the time to kill itself feels worse than what it is. Now, when the gameplay is better, when the game plays more consistently, when it plays better, and when the frame rate isn't all over the place, it's a lot better. But lag compensation is something that Drifter made a video about it, you know, a few years ago or whatnot. But it's basically the lag compensation needs to be in Call of Duty because that's the way it works. If it wasn't for lag compensation, the game would play a lot worse, and you would have to lead your shots way, way ahead, and the hit detection would be even more inconsistent than what it already is. So lag compensation in and of itself, in theory, is meant to do more good than it is bad. But unfortunately, with everything that's good, I guess there's a price to be paid. So the price is the rubber banding and the whole bullet curving thing, and it's really, really inconsistent. And sometimes it feels like when you, like right there, you just saw that guy went down pretty quick. Now, granted, he could have been pretty weak, but it registered pretty well. And as you saw previously, before halftime, that I was putting bullets into a guy, and then he managed to turn around and just shoot me, and I'd be dead. Now, granted, it could have been a shotgun, sure, but I put in a ton of bullets on him, and I was really close, and I'm using an SMG, so there you go. But anyway, so there's that. So that's something that I think needs to be looked at, and it's something that could definitely, it's something that can, to a certain extent, make a game more broken than it is good. I mean, for instance, Black Ops 2 did everything else so well that we kind of let it slide, right? We kind of let it slide. But also with another experience from stream specifically, when I was playing Control with Dying Food for a few matches or whatnot, the hit detection was so delayed that that in certain instances I was putting bullets into a guy, and the hit registration just wouldn't register for like half a minute. Not half a minute, excuse me, for what felt like half a second, anywhere from half a second to a full second. So that in and of itself is bad, but yet whenever I would get shot, it just, you know, it seems like I'm going down. So I'm sure the lag compensation and the hit registration have a lot to do with that. So like I said, it's something that's going to have to be worked on a lot. And one of the big things that you guys might be asking is, before we move on, how does this game feel like Black Ops 3? Well, there's the movement system, there's the slide, there's the height of the jump without the exo movement, and then there's the weapons. But I'll get into the weapons in another video. So there's that. But that's pretty much how it is with Black Ops 3 in terms of how the game feels. So there's a lot of Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 thrown into the mix. So, but one other thing that I wanted to talk about that's very important is, some of you guys might be wondering, is there skill-based matchmaking in the game? It looks like all games are so sweaty. Every YouTuber is saying how the matchmaking is so sweaty, and how it's hard to stomp or whatnot and all that kind of stuff. And it is harder. But here's the thing. We only got one beta code per pre-order this time, as opposed to multiple beta codes per pre-order. So who are the kind of people that are going to pre-order this game and try the beta out way before the release? A lot of those guys are hardcore Call of Duty fans. A lot of those guys are people that have left for whatever reason, or because they don't prefer a certain flavor of Call of Duty and they want to try this one out. And there's the Call of Duty people that have stuck with the series for a long time. And usually when you stick with a game for a long time and you play it for a long time, you're going to get better. So a vast majority of the players that are playing the beta are above average players. And when you get a group of them, especially when you're playing solo, when you get a group of them that you have to deal with, it's going to add to the frustration, and it's going to be harder to stomp. So there is that as well. So there are those things to be considered. And on top of that, the game itself encourages teamwork so much that it encourages people to party up. Even if people are not, let's say, one of those hardcore Call of Duty fans. Let's say they're in the minority of this beta, not in full release, but of this beta. Let's say they're in the minority, and you happen to run into a few perfect lobbies, as pub stompers like to say, or the magic lobbies, to where you can stomp without even trying or whatnot. Let's say you get into those lobbies. it doesn't happen as often. So it leads the big question of, is there skill-based matchmaking? And the thing is, no. And I'll tell you why. Because of the reasons of the pre-order and how we only got one code, there's that. So that makes perfect sense. And who's going to pre-order? Well, the hardcore people are going to pre-order for the most part. And whenever I wasn't in one of those lobbies, or whenever I wasn't dealing with people that were playing together, I still had to carry my team. So if anything, with my personal experience, the matchmaking appears to be a lot like the Call of Duty Call of Duty Black Ops 3 matchmaking, or the past three Call of Duty games since Black Ops 3. That's the kind of matchmaking that we're getting. We're basically getting matchmaking to where if you're playing solo and there's other people like say they're playing solo, or whether they're teaming up and they're not that good, then the game is gonna pair you up with the worst players, and they're gonna put the average players on the same teams to kind of balance out the lobby. Now there's rumors that I've been active on Twitter lately, so I've been looking at a lot of tweets. There's rumors that the Black Ops 4 might go back to Black Ops 1 matchmaking, to where it's just strictly ping is king, and you're not going to be running into sweaties nearly as often as you do now, and or full teams and all that kind of stuff. And if you do, they're just going to be very average players or whatnot. So if that happens, then I'd say great, especially when it comes to the casual community as well as the pub stomping community. But yeah, with my overall experience and with the evidence that I just talked about, and as well as with the pre-orders, how the pre-orders went and stuff like that, no. I personally don't believe there is skill-based matchmaking in the game, and it also wouldn't make sense to put it in beta. At least I don't think it would make sense to put it in beta, since there's a lot less people playing the game as opposed to a full release, especially with the limited amount of codes that we were given this time. So when you put all these things together, that's basically how the game feels. Now, I know it kind of sounds negative in a sense, but these videos that I'm making here, that I'm about to make within the next 2 to 3 videos or whatnot, are basically also to give, in a sense, feedback to developers as well as you guys that haven't gotten your hands on the game. Because there are those of you that have gotten your hands on the game, and there are those of you that have not. So this was kind of meant to be an informative video, as well as my personal thoughts and opinions and my experiences, as well as feedback to anybody that might be in the Treyarch development team that might see this, or somebody that's big out there might send it to somebody. I don't know. But anyway, that's basically my experience on how the game feels, and how the lag and the matchmaking and the time to kill are, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so as long as the time to kill as long as the connection's good, I think the time to kill is damn near perfect, and it limits the skill gap. But I'm all for the time to kill. So but yeah, that puts me to the end of the video, guys. It's a little bit of a lengthy one, but that concludes the first of a few more that I will make within the next 2 or 3 videos. So as always, guys, let the comments be known down in the comment section. Let me know what your opinions are, what your thoughts are, and what your experiences are. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.